On the 8th year my best friend was kidnapped by the tragic novel system. I parachuted into the tragic novel. I transformed into Ascension semi-trailer truck, known in the world as Strong. The green tea fake heiress accused my friend of hiring someone to hit her. Bang. I really did hit her. The scumbag drove a luxury car to kidnap my friend, planning to give the fake heiress a kidney transplant. Bang bang. I hit him again. Biological parents forced my best friend to sign a letter of understanding. Sorry. Bang, bang, bang. I crashed again. In a tragic novel, half a truck becomes a spirit, and with full insurance. Are you scared or not? 1. On the 8th year of my best friend Liyun's disappearance, I suddenly dreamed of her experiences in another world. It turned out that Liyun was sent into a tragic novel about a real and fake heiress by something calling itself a redemption system. Over these 8 years, Liyun, the true heiress of a wealthy family, was framed and wronged 108 times by the fake heiress using various means. Even her top student boyfriend, who succeeded in starting his business with her support, brutally tormented her best friend for the sake of the fake heiress. Meanwhile, her best friend's biological parents in this world, due to their favoritism toward the fake heiress, treated their own daughter as if she were a trivial nuisance. After 8 years, her best friend successfully redeemed the gloomy male lead from his unfortunate childhood, but she herself was tormented into severe depression. On the day I arrived here, my best friend, incited and framed by the fake heiress, was pushed by the male lead into the middle of the road. My best friend was utterly desperate, standing there blankly in the middle of the road, waiting for the out-of-control Strong to crash into her and send her flying. Then she would completely leave this world, fulfilling the system's requirement of dead woman literature. The male lead's desperate pursuit of his wife's ashes, and I was the Strong semi-truck about to hit my best friend. All right, so your tragic romance world just loves pure suffering. How, isn't it all about the torment? Who cares who gets tormented? I spotted the fake heiress standing nearby, gloating over the situation, and the male lead with his cold, indifferent expression. Whoosh, I charged right at them. Hello, little Feiyun is here. 2. Bang, the whole world fell silent. The tragic novel system emitted a sharp, piercing sound. Wrong. You were supposed to run over Liyun. Why did you hit the male lead and the fake heiress? Wait, if Liyun isn't run over, how will the male lead chase her to the crematorium? I slowly pressed the brake of the semi-trailer, letting out a cold laugh, killing the male lead and sending him straight to the crematorium. How is that not a crematorium? The sad novel system couldn't deal with me, so it had no choice but to manipulate the plot, resetting the timeline back to the first year when my best friend Liyun saved the gloomy male lead. Fine. So you're going to keep picking on my best friend like a sheep being sheared. How? The moment I regained consciousness, I connected to my best friend's brainwaves. Liyun, it's Haoyun. Please respond if you receive this. Liyun instantly widened her tear-swollen eyes. Haoyun, how did you get here too? Where are you? Did the system do anything to you? This little idiot, she's barely taking care of herself, yet still worries about me. My heart warmed, and I quickly reassured her, I'm fine, right now. Take the money meant for the male lead and go to the used car dealership to redeem me, quickly. Damn it, the sad novel system is trying to stop me from ruining the plot by selling me off to Myanmar right now. Sob. As my best friend since childhood, Liyun believed every word I said without question. 2 hours later, the wealthy family's true heiress happily acquired a second-hand semi-trailer truck. At this moment, the male lead Fang Yicheng, who was waiting at school for Liyun to pay his tuition fees, grew increasingly grim-faced. 3. Fang Yicheng, there's only 1 hour left before the school's payment system closes. If you really can't afford the fees, the teacher can help you apply for a student loan. In the office, the counselor earnestly tried to persuade him. Fang Yicheng had his hands in his pockets, his pale, handsome face clouded with dark anger. He was waiting for Liyun, that sycophant, to come and pay his tuition fees. After all, Liyun had proactively paid his tuition for all 3 years of university. Why should she suddenly stop paying in the final year? According to the plot of the melodrama, Fang Yicheng had originally been secretly in love with the fake heiress Li Xian, but it was the real heiress, my best friend Liyun, who had supported him through 4 years of university. After graduation, she even invested all the inheritance left to her by her grandmother into Fang Yicheng's startup project. That's how the once poor boy Fang Yicheng rose to become a new elite in Lake City. How did Fang Yicheng repay my best friend? He took the money my best friend invested and immediately turned around to pursue his long unattainable white moonlight, the fake heiress Li Xian. He splurged millions on the fake heiress, hosting a personal art exhibition for her, taking her on romantic dates in Paris, and watching the Northern Lights in the Arctic. Yet, when my best friend was forced by the Li family into an arranged marriage with an old man and turned to him for help, he coldly said it was her duty and responsibility as the true heiress of the Li family. So he's not even pretending to be a decent person anymore, is he? I'd like to see how, this time without my best friend's support. Fang Yicheng, that ungrateful bastard, manages to finish college smoothly, or suddenly become a new elite in Lake City. I had my best friend hire a truck driver to take me straight to the school gate. Seeing her best friend step down from a second-hand semi-trailer truck, Feng Yicheng and the fake heiress Li Xian beside him were both stunned. First seeing her best friend finally appear, a faint, almost imperceptible smile flickered across Feng Yicheng's face before he immediately put on a stern expression and coldly scolded her. Why are you only coming now? Don't you know today is the last day for school fee payment? Since you're here, hurry up and pay the tuition fee. Controlled by the system, my best friend instinctively reached for her bank card. I manipulated the snow-white, dazzling headlights of the semi-trailer truck, emitting a blinding glare. Her best friend instantly snapped out of it and quickly withdrew her bank card. Counselor, my tuition has already been automatically deducted from my card. What other fees do I need to pay? The counselor was stunned. Miss Li Yun, Feng Yicheng said you're his sponsor, his tuition needs to be paid by you. The fake heiress deliberately let out a gasp. Sister, you've sponsored Brother Feng for 3 years already. You wouldn't suddenly change your mind in the final year and refuse to support him, would you? How can you give up halfway when doing charity? Feng Yicheng said with a stern face and a cold voice. Li Yun, aren't you just trying to force me to be with you by using the favor of funding my education? Take your stinking money and get lost. I will never trade my love for it. Fine. Her best friend tucked the bank card back into her bag and turned to leave. 5. Feng Yicheng looked utterly stunned and instinctively grabbed her best friend's arm. Li Yun, what do you mean? You promised me you'd help pay for my 4 years of college tuition. If it weren't for you, I wouldn't have chosen such an expensive university. My best friend and I both laughed angrily. Feng Yicheng came from a poor family. Her father was a gambler, her mother was ill, and she had a sickly younger brother. For 3 years of high school, she was busy working to support her family and pay for her brother's medical treatment, leaving her little time to study. Her grades were mediocre at best. After the college entrance examination, Feng Yicheng faced 2 choices: apply for a public university that is affordable but has mediocre majors, or a private university with expensive tuition but top-notch programs. To enable the male lead to attend a private university and build connections with influential figures, the system assigned a task to the female lead's best friend, requiring her to fund Feng Yicheng's education at a private university. And Feng Yicheng, this gloomy male protagonist who constantly claims he relies on himself rather than women, scolded his best friend for insulting his pure love with money, while at the same time calmly letting her pay his annual tuition of 80,000 yuan, plus 50,000 yuan for accommodation and living expenses. My best friend smiled and forcefully broke free from Feng Yicheng's restraint. Feng, I think you're right, love is pure and should not be disgraced by vulgar money, so I've decided, starting from now, to stop supporting you. I've made up my mind to win you over with sincerity. Hilarious, isn't that just empty promises? Who can't say sweet words? Isn't it supposed to be a pure, material-free love? Why is the male lead unhappy now that his best friend has finally made it happen? 6. The best friend put away the card, turned without looking back, and got into the semi-truck, directing the driver to drive away, leaving only the male lead and the fake heiress standing in the empty corridor, disheveled in the wind. The counselor's cold voice suddenly rang out behind him. Student Feng Yicheng, the school's payment system will close in 30 minutes. Students who fail to pay their tuition and fees on time will be publicly notified by the school, which may affect your graduation certificate. Feng Yicheng pressed his lips together, looking hopefully at the fake daughter, Li Xian. Li Xian was also the daughter of the Li family, although not biologically related. The Li family's parents loved their adopted daughter Li Xian more than their own biological daughter. As a wealthy heiress, Li Xian shouldn't be unable to come up with a mere 130,000 yuan. Right, sorry, but Li Xian really can't come up with it, according to the system settings, in order to present herself as a pure, untainted little white flower who doesn't care about fame or fortune in front of her adoptive parents. And the male lead, Li Xian, refused the 50,000 yuan monthly allowance her adoptive parents offered. She also returned all the jewelry and accessories they had given her to the female lead of the tragic novel. My good friend, this is another reason why the male lead initially disliked my friend. He believed that her appearance ruined the fake heiress's life and took away everything that belonged to her. Now, the boomerang finally came back to hit him, hearing that Li Xinkai only had 5,000 yuan, not even enough for accommodation fees. Feng Yicheng's handsome face turned completely dark. 7. Living up to his fame as a male lead blessed with an innate heartthrob aura, word has it that Feng Yicheng paid the full year's tuition and accommodation fees at the very last second before the payment system shut down. He was borrowing money through a fake rich girl's mobile banking loan. My best friend had the driver take me home, stopping on the lawn behind the Li family villa, thinking of the tragic experiences my best friend went through in the original story. I quickly told her all about the next outrageous moves the abusive novel system had in store, leaving nothing out. To my surprise, my best friend just smiled bitterly. It's no use, even if I know the plot in advance. I can't change the system's storyline settings, or I'll get electrocuted by the system. As she spoke, Leon rolled up her sleeve. I saw her fair and slender arms covered densely with scars left by the system's electric shocks from her previous resistance. Damn system, it's practically an evil human trafficking system. Leon leaned weakly against my driver's seat, her once youthful and vibrant face now lifeless. How Yun, maybe we should just let it be. The system promised me that as long as I follow all the plot points it set for suffering, I can return to the real world after death. I remained silent, thinking for a minute. As the engine roared happily, Leon, I've got an idea. First, you call the insurance company and help me, well, get full coverage for the semi-trailer. Then we do this. I was in the brainwaves, avoiding system surveillance, desperately giving advice to my best friend. Soon, the plot reached the first heart-wrenching moment of the book. The fake daughter-in-law deliberately had someone drive into her to frame my best friend, then blamed everything on her afterward. In the original text, because the fake daughter-in-law nearly got killed, in reality, she only had a minor scrape on her calf. Lee's father slapped Leon hard, and Lee's mother kicked her out of the house, freezing all her cards. With no money and no other options, Leon went to the male lead, Fang Yicheng, asking him to help retrieve the surveillance footage from that road. Unexpectedly, Fang Yicheng didn't even glance at it and directly destroyed all the surveillance videos. He casually told Leon, "You took away Li Xian's life, as well as her beloved parents, even if she deliberately framed you this time, you still owe her. Consider this your repentance and compensation to her." All right, you like to take big risks, huh? I'll make sure you two lovebirds get what you deserve. 8. Soon after, the fake heiress came to ask my best friend out for a walk. Suddenly, a willing Minnie, swaying unsteadily, headed straight for the fake heiress. The fake heiress, her face filled with terror, shouted at my best friend, "Leon, you've already taken mom and dad away from me, but why did you have to hire someone to run me over?" With that, she closed her eyes, waiting for the willing Minnie to brush past her lightly as agreed. Suddenly, a deep, roaring engine sound, not from the willing Minnie, approached rapidly from the distance. The fake heiress suddenly had a bad feeling. The next second, her eyes widened in horror, but it was already too late. With full insurance backing me, I slammed the accelerator to the floor, aiming the front of the car straight at the fake heiress. On the bright red body of the vehicle, the two large characters Diyun flashed with the light of justice. "Hello, fake heiress, congratulations, you're about to hit the jackpot." A loud bang, the fake daughter flew into the air like a kite with a broken string. Then, with a thud, she fell into the drainage ditch by the roadside, her head tilted to one side, motionless, as if she were dead. The male protagonist, who had rushed over upon hearing the commotion, let out a furious roar upon seeing the scene. "Li-yun, you actually wanted someone to run over your sister. Fine. So focused on hitting the fake heiress, you forgot about me, the gold-digging man, right?" I slammed the accelerator and charged straight toward Fang Yicheng. Fang Yicheng was terrified, immediately abandoning his beloved white moonlight, running while screaming at my best friend. "Stop, Leon, I order you to make this truck stop immediately." Her best friend shrugged. "I already told you I didn't have anyone hit Li Xian. Why won't you believe me?" "Don't believe me. Look, there's no one in the driver's seat of this truck. Probably the driver forgot to engage the gear, and the truck just rolled down the slope by itself." The tragic romance system was spinning in circles inside my best friend's mind, issuing a threat. Warning, the host is attempting to harm the target of the strategy. Please stop immediately, otherwise, the host will be subjected to electric shock punishment." "What a fucking idiot," my best friend sneered coldly. "I wasn't the one driving the truck, nor did I order it to run over Fang Yicheng and Li Xian. How can you determine that I was trying to harm the target of the strategy? If you have the guts, go reason with that truck." I pressed the accelerator all the way down. "Reasonable, you'd better go talk to my semi-truck's full insurance policy." 9. With a loud bang, the male protagonist Fang Yicheng was also knocked flying. The bad news is that Fang Yicheng and Li Xian are both still alive. The good news is that the electric shock punishment from the sad novel system has absolutely no effect on me. As everyone knows, our big truck is basically a solid iron block. When the system's electric shock hits me, the current immediately flows through the vehicle body and smoothly discharges into the ground the next second, almost like it was just tickling me. Fang Yicheng and Li Xian were rushed to the hospital for emergency treatment. My best friend and I were also taken by the traffic police who arrived on the Seen to the traffic police station. In the hospital, Lee Xin, who had regained consciousness, cried bitterly, pointing at the semi-trailer truck and claiming that it was arranged by Li Yun with the intention of killing her. Meanwhile, Fan Yiqing also firmly testified that he had received an anonymous message stating that Li Yun had hired someone to commit murder, intending to fake an accident and kill her adopted sister Lee Xin in a traffic collision. Faced with the accusations from her fiancé and adopted sister, my best friend shrugged her hands. Where's the evidence? Yeah, where's the evidence? 10. A few days later, the investigation results came out. Strangely enough, the truth of the matter was exactly as my best friend had said. At the time of the accident, there was no one in the semi-trailer truck at all. Later, after testing by the traffic police technical department, it was determined that the cause of the accident was the driver's urgent need to urinate. He got out of the truck to use the restroom but forgot to pull the handbrake, which led to the truck rolling downhill and crashing into both the fake Heiress and Fan Yiqing. The two people who saw the investigation results simply couldn't believe it. The fake daughter, filled with grief and anger, pointed at her best friend and accused, if it was a big truck sliding down the slope, then why did it only hit me and not her? It must be Li Yun. She must have used some kind of technology to install autonomous driving features on that truck. The traffic police officer couldn't help but roll his eyes. Madam, the truck involved in the accident was just a regular fuel-powered vehicle, not an autonomous one. If MS, Li Yun could manually craft a chip and convert a regular fuel-powered truck into an autonomous vehicle, the odds of that happening would be even smaller than you suddenly getting hit by a semi-truck sliding down the road while walking. Since there was no evidence, the matter eventually ended without resolution. 11. The abusive novel system, powerless and furious, quickly dragged the plot to the next crucial scene. Fan Yiqing drove a Maserati and kidnapped my best friend, Li Yun. Last time you hired someone to teach Lee Xin a lesson and nearly killed her in a collision. Lee Xin, being pure and kind-hearted, has decided not to hold you accountable, but what you owe her must be repaid. The doctor said that the semi-truck damaged one of Lee Xin's kidneys. You should donate one of your kidneys to her as an apology for the previous accident. My best friend trembled as she questioned Fan Yiqing. Are you really so sure that my kidney and Lee Xin's can match? Fan Yiqing replied confidently, Lee Xin has been in poor health. When your parents brought you back, they had already done a compatibility test for both of you sisters. A chill ran through my best friend's heart. But the torture novel system suddenly seemed to go into overdrive, cheering loudly. So tragic, that's it. Perfect. The heroine discovers that her biological parents only brought her back to find a kidney donor for their adopted daughter. She becomes utterly disillusioned with her birth parents, her heart broken, and willingly lies on the operating table. Then the male lead personally orders the removal of the heroine's kidney. What the hell? So you really enjoy harvesting people's kidneys? Huh, just you wait, you bastard. 12. I immediately connected with my best friend's brainwaves. Li Yun, hold on tight and sit steady. I'm coming at you. What? Li Yun's face turned pale as she tightly gripped the handrail beside the car door. Seeing her pale little face, Fan Yiqing's eyes flickered with a hint of reluctance. Then he gently reassured his best friend, Li Yun, be a good girl, as long as you promise not to bully Lee Xin again, and give me the money your grandmother left you as startup capital for my business. Once I succeed in my venture, I'll give you a grand wedding for the ages. No need. Her best friend suddenly interrupted him. Why, haven't you always wanted to marry me? Because you won't live to see that day. Her best friend turned her head, smiled at Fan Yiqing, then suddenly opened the car door and jumped out. The next second, I slammed the semi-truck's accelerator to the floor, unleashing the roar of death. Congratulations, Mr. Fan Yiqing, you're about to hit the jackpot. With a deafening boom, the Maserati spun over a dozen times in midair. In its final free-fall motion, it crashed heavily onto the middle of the road. The traffic police arrived at the scene and, upon seeing my familiar semi-trailer truck, were all stunned. How come it's this car again? Where's the driver? My best friend shook her head in fear. I don't know, we were driving along when that semi-trailer suddenly came rushing toward us. I was so scared I jumped off the car immediately. Oh right, there's someone in the driver's seat. Did Fan Yiqing not make it out? The traffic officer pointed listlessly at the nearly burned out Maserati. Your boyfriend was trapped in the car and almost burned to death. Her best friend sighed. How come almost again? She had thought for sure Fan Yiqing would definitely burn to death this time. 13. Because of the second major traffic accident, I was mercilessly dragged by the traffic police to the parking lot and impounded, but soon, my good friend paid a little money and got me released. I parked in the backyard of the Lee garden, listening with great interest to the gossip between the housekeeper and the drivers. I heard that although Fan Yiqing was pulled out of the car in time by the traffic police and didn't die in the fire, both of his legs were fractured, and his spinal nerves were compressed, with the hospital saying there was a risk of paralysis. Now it's settled, even if he pays the tuition, he's bound to graduate late. I heard that after Fang Yiqing woke up, he found both his legs were broken. He went crazy, telling everyone he'd almost been killed by a sentient strong semi-trailer truck, and even wanted to hire a lawyer to sue my best friend, claiming the second-hand semi-trailer was bought by her. But he didn't expect that my best friend had prepared for this. She secretly recorded their conversation using her phone. Before Fang Yiqing could even hire a lawyer, my best friend had already taken the recording to the police to file a report. In the recording, Fang Yiqing clearly stated that Li's parents had already arranged with the hospital and the surgeon, and that regardless of whether Li Yun agrees, they will remove a kidney to give to Li Xian. Fang Yiqing even shamelessly claimed that after Li Yun donated her kidney, her health would inevitably deteriorate, and at that point, she should hand over the inheritance left to her by the elderly Mrs. Li to Fang Yiqing for management, first plotting for wealth, then endangering lives. Every word Fang Yiqing said in the recording will serve as courtroom evidence for the courts. Sentencing. Fang Yiqing was taken into custody by the police even before he was discharged from the hospital. Moreover, due to his involvement in a serious case related to organ trafficking, even Li's parents were summoned by the police for questioning. Li's parents were both shocked and frightened. After returning home, they immediately ordered the housekeeper to bring Li Yun over. 14. Seeing her best friend, Li's father immediately issued an order. Li Yun, go to the police station right away and withdraw your case, say it was all a misunderstanding, and that you donated your kidney to your sister voluntarily. As parents, when have we ever forced you? Mother Li also pleaded earnestly. Xiaoyun, you have already taken everything from Xinxin, her identity as the true daughter of the Li family, her parents, and even the boy she liked. You owe Xinxin so much. Donating a kidney to her would be your way of making amends, wouldn't it? Father Li continued, your mother is right, since you've already gained everything. What's wrong with giving a kidney to Xinxin as compensation? Also, you must withdraw the lawsuit against Fang Yiqing immediately. He was just too anxious because he loves your sister so much, and he didn't discuss it properly with you before taking you to donate a kidney. What he did was wrong, and I'll reprimand him later. In any case, you must drop the case right away, all of them. As the daughter of the Li family, Li Yun, if you can't even show this much generosity, how can your mother and I trust you with the family's future? The tragic novel system screamed excitedly. Yes, 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 this is exactly the kind of family tragedy. The biological parents always favor the adopted daughter, only realizing what they've lost after the female lead dies. In the end, they uncover the truth, ruthlessly punish the adopted daughter, and avenge the female lead. My best friend and I both laughed angrily. You only regret it after someone's dead. What good does regret do? Relying on my half-truck spirit good fortune, my best friend immediately took out paper and pen and threw them in front of Li's parents. Didn't you say I took away everything that belonged to Li Xian? Sure, then I'll really take it today, Mr. and Mrs. Li. You want me to drop the lawsuit? Easy, just write a property transfer agreement right now, transferring all of the Li family's shares, real estate, deposits, and all those antiques and luxury items to my name, then I'll drop the lawsuit. You've always been saying that you can give me the money, but the love must go to Li Xian, right? Fine, here it is, give it now. Great, that's the kind of satisfying fight I want. I'm cheering and applauding for my sister like crazy through brainwaves. 15. Mr. and Mrs. Li were dumbfounded. They had only casually mentioned that money would go to their biological daughter, while love would go to their adopted daughter. If you really ask them to give, they become unwilling after all. Love is just a light, fleeting word, but money is real gold and silver. Once given away, it's gone for good. The sad novel system was also stunned. It wants the Li parents to torment the female lead, not the female lead to torment the Li parents. Hey, the best friend sneered. Just tell me, is it heartbreaking or not? Father Li's face flushed red as he slammed the table hard. Money, 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 is that all you care about? Look at yourself. What makes you better than your sister? She asks for nothing but our love. Mother Li also stopped her hypocritical crying and scolded the best friend coldly. Xiaoyun, why can't you be a little kinder and more generous like your sister? Over such a small matter, you have to make a huge fuss, even calling the police on your own family. You're just too immature. The heartbreak system chimed in excitedly. Yes, 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 that's exactly the kind of heartbreak we need. The biological parents relentlessly belittle and suppress the female lead, stripping her of her last will to live. Their favoritism is the final straw that breaks the camel's back. What is a camel? All I know is that my good friend doesn't have a camel, only a strong brand semi-trailer with a load capacity of up to 33 tons. 16. Under the control of the sad novel system, Lee's parents quickly began following the plot, forcing my best friend to go to the police station to withdraw the case, and at the same time signing a letter of understanding for Fang Yicheng in the original text. Because her best friend refused to go with them to sign and withdraw the case, she clung desperately to the doorframe, and Mr. Lee used the heavy solid wood door to crush all 10 of her fingers. This time, having received my message in advance through brainwaves, my best friend obediently followed Mr. and Mrs. Lee out of the house, but just as he was about to get into the car, he performed a lazy donkey roll, tumbling away across the Lee family's neatly trimmed lawn. Lee's parents were stunned. The next second, a familiar, spine-chilling roar of an engine rapidly approached them. I cheered and pushed the throttle to its maximum. Hello there, little Feiyun is back again. With a loud bang, the multi-million-dollar Rolls-Royce was reduced to a pile of scrap metal. Lee's parents were scrambling forward, running with all their might. I slowed down the car, following behind at a leisurely pace, watching them run, drenched in sweat, their legs weak, begging for mercy in their desperation. Sure enough, only a useless camel would be crushed by a few strands of straw. As for a semi-trailer like me, with a load capacity of 33 tons, try pressing it down with some straw. Who's going to crush whom? We'll see. Finally, the two of them couldn't run anymore. I slipped and crushed one of Lee's father's legs and 5 of Lee's mother's fingers. I was once again detained on the spot by the police and taken to that familiar parking lot. Unfortunately, they couldn't do anything to me, since my good friend had already bought me comprehensive insurance for the semi-trailer. I'm not afraid of paying compensation. After all, the Lee family is actually quite wealthy. My best friend directly used the Lee family's money, leveraging their background and power, to quickly bail me out from the parking lot. Upon learning all this, Mr. and Mrs. Lee completely broke down, holding each other and crying uncontrollably. Heart-wrenching, so heart-wrenching. This is what a tragic story should be like. 17. Without the silent sacrifice of the best friend, the male lead of the melodrama, the female lead's parents and the fake daughter, all of them are no longer good. In the original plot, after graduating from university, the male lead Fang Yicheng had already made a name for himself in the investment market with the initial capital provided by the female lead, earning his first pot of gold. But now, Fang Yicheng has broken his leg and had to apply for a leave of absence, delaying his graduation. Without a diploma and losing financial support from my best friend, Fang Yicheng couldn't even get a job, let alone invest and become a boss. He became a complete unemployed person. In the original plot, the fake daughter killed my best friend, then became the sole daughter of the Lee family and the center of attention, even holding a grand engagement ceremony with the male lead. But now, the fake daughter, suspected of involvement in organ trafficking, has become a legal celebrity and has been taken into custody at the detention center. As for the original plot, where the Lee parents helped the fake Heiress caused the death of their own biological daughter, they no longer have to wait until the female lead dies to feel regret. They are already regretting it now. In an attempt to evade legal accountability, the fake Heiress redeemed herself by performing meritorious service while in detention, exposing Mr. and Mrs. Lee, claiming that the kidney transplant was proposed by her adoptive parents, who also helped find the hospital, hire the doctors, and cover the surgical expenses. Poor Mr. and Mrs. Lee, with their broken legs not yet healed, were visited by the police for questioning. It is said that their most beloved adopted daughter, in order to clear herself of the charges, actually reported them personally, leaving Mr. and Mrs. Lee utterly devastated. 18. They finally regretted it, regretting that I hadn't treated my biological daughter well back then, instead doting on this ungrateful adopted daughter as if she were my own. Facing the repentance of her biological parents, her best friend remained unmoved. They're not regretting, they've finally felt the pain after being bitten by this ungrateful daughter. At this point, the revenge plot system had no power over me and my best friend, so it hastily, scrambling and stumbling, brought forward the chasing the wife to the crematorium storyline. Fang Yicheng went on a hunger strike in the detention center, insisting on seeing his best friend. When they met again, Fang Yicheng was already wearing a stylish prison uniform, with a buzz cut, sitting in front of his best friend with a face full of regret. He looked at his best friend in silence. Xiaoyun, I misunderstood you before. I never thought Li Xian was that kind of person. The police have already investigated and found out that her uremia was fake, and the need for a kidney transplant was also a lie. She deliberately lied to me, making me kidnap you, just to kill you during the kidney transplant. I don't know. I really didn't know she was like this, Xiaoyun. I'm sorry. The best friend stood up. If you called me here just to say sorry, I accept it. Anything else? If not, I'm leaving. Wait. Fan Yicheng's eyes were red, staring straight at his best friend. Li Yun, why are you not the same to me as before? The best friend's lips curled into a sneer. The same as before. Back then, I spent money, gave my effort, poured my heart and soul into you, wishing I could give you all the good things in the world. But what about you? How did you treat me? Fan Yicheng, if I remember correctly, it was you who said it yourself, telling me to stop having unrealistic thoughts about you, and to stop using that filthy money to insult your pure love with Li Xian. I followed your words, so why aren't you happy now? 19. Fan Yicheng paused for a moment, a bitter smile curling at the corner of his mouth. Li Yun, you've changed. You used to never talk to me like this. Her best friend suddenly smiled. Isn't this exactly what you wanted? You told me to stay away from you, and I did. You told me not to insult you with money anymore, and I did too. Fan Yicheng, I've done everything you asked. What more could you possibly be dissatisfied with? Fan Yicheng's eyes slowly reddened. He lifted his head, looking pitifully at his close friend. Li Yun, do you not love me anymore? His close friend laughed in exasperation. What do you think I love about you? That you take my money and still think it's dirty, or that you enjoy the support I provide with both money and effort, while also wanting to take my kidney for another woman? Fan Yicheng, stop putting on that expression of deep affection and regret. You regret it not because you love me, but because you finally realized that without me, you are nothing. If I were the one sitting in prison now, and you had become the favored son-in-law of the Li family, receiving hundreds of millions in startup funding from Li Xian, would you still be crying to me about your regrets? You wouldn't. You would only be congratulating yourself on making the right choice, helping Li Xian finish me off, marrying your so-called white moonlight, and soaring to new heights in your career with the support of the Li family. Fan Yicheng, stop saying you love me. Your love is so cheap it's laughable. You can keep it to yourself. After a torrent of words, my best friend left happily, leaving behind Fan Yicheng's desperate and regretful cries. Unfortunately, no one cared who would sympathize with the crocodile's tears. 20. Seeing her best friend leave like this, without forgiving the male lead, the sad novel system was so furious it jumped up and down. Li Yun, you have no heart. Fan Yicheng doesn't not love you. He's just insecure and sensitive due to a painful childhood, and doesn't know how to love someone. My best friend and I rolled our eyes together. Come on, as if everyone doesn't have some childhood trauma. Besides, why should I, a complete stranger, have to pay for Fan Yicheng's unfortunate childhood? An unfortunate childhood, an unfortunate youth, an unfortunate middle age, an unfortunate old age, and in the end, the deceased is revered as a tragic novel system. Don't you think such a male lead is the most tragic of all? My best friend and I went back and forth, completely overwhelming the tragic novel system. A few days later, the court officially announced the verdict. Fake daughter Li Xian was sentenced to 18 years in prison for allegedly organizing illegal organ trafficking, kidnapping, and other crimes. Li's parents were also sentenced to 5 and 3 years in prison respectively for assisting in the crime and participating in organ trafficking. The male protagonist of the abusive novel, Fan Yicheng, was sentenced to 10 years in prison for his involvement in kidnapping and illegal organ trafficking. As for me, this semi-trailer truck that has caused multiple traffic accidents remained unscathed thanks to the full insurance purchased by my owner. My best friend, the only innocent victim in these traffic accidents, was the truck driver who had stopped to use the restroom, whose commercial driver's license was revoked. However, the day after his license was revoked, he was hired by his best friend to become the butler of the Li family's luxury car fleet, with his salary increasing from 10,000 per month to 50,000 per month. The moment I stepped out of the courthouse, I heard my best friend let out a sigh of relief. Before being taken to the police car, Fan Yicheng struggled to walk to his best friend. 21. Li Yun, can I ask you a question? What is it? I want to ask, are you really the Li Yun who once loved me so deeply? Her best friend smiled, but the smile didn't reach her eyes. Fan Yicheng, the Li Yun who loved you to death is already dead. You killed her yourself. The Li Yun standing in front of you now has only one request for you. Don't ever show up in front of me again. Just seeing you makes me sick. What kind of pathetic male lead in a melodramatic novel, pretending to be in a tragic love story while exploiting the inheritance left by the female lead, then happily getting married to the cruel female villain who killed her, holding a grand wedding ceremony. In the end, when the truth comes out, he blames everything on the villainess, still expecting sympathy and pity from all his readers. On what grounds? You love melodramatic stories so much. Why are you so broken when the victim becomes yourself? After the male lead of the sad novel was imprisoned, the sad novel system that had kidnapped my best friend fell silent for a few days, then reappeared, jumping around again. This time, it came up with an even more malicious plot. I've thought about it. The plot can be adjusted. The new theme of the sad novel will be the male-oriented hit Dragon King released from prison. 10 years later, the male lead Fan Yiqing is released from prison, only to discover that the female lead, Li Yun, has taken his child and married his mortal enemy, so he let out a furious cry of "Don't bully those who fall into poverty in middle age," mobilized underworld forces to drive Li Yun's husband into bankruptcy, then detained Li Yun by his side, repeatedly assaulting her while refusing to grant her any formal status. He even forced her to act as a bridesmaid, leaving her to watch helplessly as he would his prearranged fiancée. Li Yun was brutally abused by the male lead's arranged wife. Her blood was drawn, her kidneys removed, her body covered in scars. In utter despair, she jumped off a cliff with her child in her arms. The male lead finally regretted his actions. "Regret your ass." My best friend and I exchanged glances, then decisively handed over the sad novel system to the National Security Department. "So you enjoy tormenting, huh? Why not go torment the little devils next door? Wouldn't that count as tormenting? Torment your own people, and readers will curse you like a dog. Torment the little Japanese next door, and all Chinese readers will give you a big thumbs up." Now that's the right way to open up a torment system. Later, the National Security Department cracked the abusive novel system and incidentally released me from that semi-trailer truck. The rest of the Li family ended up in prison, while my best friend Li Yun smoothly inherited the Li family's billions in assets. We drove that fully insured semi-trailer truck all across the country, running over countless scumbags and weirdos. No choice, full insurance plus a semi-trailer. Fearless wherever we go, with the Li family's billions in assets. If we occasionally bump into something, it's not like we can't afford to pay for it, right? After hearing the first story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. At the university opening ceremony, I, as an outstanding freshman representative, took the stage to deliver a speech. My mother rushed onto the stage, snatched the microphone from me, and tearfully pleaded in front of all the teachers and students, "Principal, I beg you to disqualify my daughter from speaking. She doesn't deserve it. Her private life is a mess. At such a young age, she got someone pregnant and just had an abortion. Her body is still very weak." In an instant, I became the laughingstock of the entire school. My boyfriend avoided me, and my friends turned against me. I was forced onto the rooftop, while my mother cried and shouted below, "I'm doing this for your own good. You're not in good health, and I worry about you. I'm afraid you'll get tired from standing too long." I leaped forward. When I opened my eyes again, it was the day before the opening ceremony. My mother brought me a bowl of calming soup, and I drank it with a smile. Then, I secretly replaced her birth control pills with vitamin tablets. This time, I'm going to make her taste the bitterness of complete disgrace. The atmosphere at the dinner table was oppressive. My mom picked up a piece of celery with her chopsticks and placed it in my bowl. "Eat more. The opening ceremony is tomorrow, so you need to build up your energy." I quietly pushed the celery aside. "I don't like celery." My mom's face darkened. "You're going to speak as the freshman representative in a few days, for such an important occasion. How can you not take care of your health?" My cousin Heidi spoke softly. "Sister, Auntie means well for you. Being the freshman representative speaker is such an honor. Our whole family is counting on you to bring glory to our ancestors." Though she spoke of envy, the jealousy in her eyes was unmistakable. In my previous life, this freshman speech became the beginning of my nightmare. My mother raised her voice by an octave when she saw I wasn't speaking. "I'm talking to you. Are you mute? Have you memorized your speech for tomorrow? Don't embarrass yourself on stage." My father couldn't stand it anymore and frowned. "All right, let the child eat in peace." My mother immediately turned her criticism toward my father. "What do you know? I'm motivating her. She is now the focus of the entire school and cannot afford to make a single misstep." "Sis, I heard your school has a spot for an exchange student abroad this year, and it's only open to freshmen. The requirements are extremely high." Heidi brought it up as if it were nothing. My mom took the bait. "As expected. Exchange student. To which country?" "I think it's country M. The tuition and living expenses for a year amount to several $100,000, and the school covers it all." As soon as she heard several $100,000, my mom's eyes instantly lit up. With a flash of greed and calculation, my aunt also exclaimed in surprise, "Such a great opportunity. Of course, our Nancy should go. With her excellent grades and being the freshman representative, she'll definitely have no problem." A hint of pride flashed across my mom's face, but then she frowned. "Her, look at how sickly she is." A gust of wind Could knock her over. What if I get sick abroad with no one to take care of me? Heidi immediately chimed in. Yeah, my sister's health really isn't great. She's been prone to illness since she was little. The competition for this spot is definitely fierce. I'm afraid my sister's health won't be able to handle it. I watched them going back and forth, sneering inwardly. In my previous life, I spent countless days and nights working hard for this exchange student spot, but because of the scene my mom caused at school, I completely lost my eligibility, and Heidi, by having her aunt go around crying poor and playing the victim, actually managed to get the supplementary admission spot in the end. In this life, I won't let them succeed again. Mom, I don't want to compete for that spot. It's too exhausting. I just want to focus on college. My mom froze in surprise, and Heidi exchanged a look of astonishment. My mother looked at me with suspicion. Are you serious? You're giving up such a great opportunity. Are you trying to pull something over on me again? No, I just feel like my health might really not be up to it. Heidi is right. I'm afraid I can't handle it. I deliberately showed weakness and steered the conversation toward Heidi, watching the mother and daughter pair calculating with such self-assurance. I sneered inwardly. This is only the first step. Let them fight among themselves. The more eagerly they struggle, the harder they'll fall. Heidi quickly waved her hands. Sis, that's not what I meant, but my mother cut her off, a calculating gleam in her eyes. Since Nancy isn't going, we can't let this opportunity go to waste. Tomorrow, we'll go have a good talk with Nancy's academic advisor. My aunt's eyes lit up. Can it be done? Why wouldn't it work? My mother said with confidence. Nancy is the student representative, so the teacher definitely values her. Let her go talk to the teacher and say she's not feeling well, then voluntarily give the opportunity to her cousin. The teacher will surely agree when they see how sensible she is. Heidi's face flushed, and she clenched her fists excitedly. My father frowned as he listened from the side. What kind of nonsense is this? This is just reckless. My mother shot him a glare. Shut up, you don't get to speak in this house. She looked at me and said in a commanding tone, after the speech tomorrow, you will take us to see your counselor. Did you hear me? I nodded. Understood, Mom. Late at night, my mother walked into my room carrying a bowl of soup. Drink this calming soup, and don't be nervous tomorrow. It's exactly the same as in my previous life. In my previous life, after drinking this soup, I felt drowsy every day. My mother had even more reason to say that I was physically weak. I took the bowl and obediently drank it all in one go. Thank you, Mom. My mother looked at me with satisfaction. After she left the room, I immediately went into the bathroom and spat out all the soup. Then, I walked into her bedroom. From the bedside table, I took out the bottle of birth control pills she often took. I skillfully removed the pills inside and replaced them with the vitamins I had prepared long ago. Mom, haven't you always said I'm your pride? This time, I'll let you experience firsthand what it feels like to fall from the clouds into the abyss. The opening ceremony was held in an auditorium packed with people. I took a deep breath, and only a deathly silence remained in my heart. It's my turn. I could clearly see my mom, my aunt, and Heidi sitting in the first row. Their gazes were like three sharp swords, firmly fixed on me. Respected leaders, teachers, and dear fellow students, I began to speak, my voice clear and steady. There was no trace of the nervousness and trembling from my previous life. A round of applause broke out from the audience. My speech is about to end, and following the procedure, I bow to express my gratitude to all the teachers and students of the school. Just as I straightened up, a figure suddenly rushed up from below the stage. It's my mom. She snatched the microphone from my hand so quickly that no one had time to react. The entire room instantly fell silent. All eyes were focused on the stage, on my mother. Unlike in my previous life, I didn't feel a chill run through my body. Instead, my heart was pounding wildly, not out of fear, but out of excitement. The suffocating feeling of being condemned by everyone in my past life flashed by, and I couldn't help but reveal a strange, expectant smile to the stunned crowd below. The show has finally begun. She held the microphone, her voice piercing and tearful. Principal, teachers, please, I beg you, disqualify my daughter from speaking. Her words exploded like a bomb in the auditorium. The audience erupted in uproar. I stood where I was, watching her performance with great interest. She doesn't deserve it. She doesn't deserve to stand here. She is not at all the person you see. She was crying hysterically. She has a chaotic private life and got someone pregnant at such a young age. Just a few days ago, she had an abortion at the hospital just so she could come to school. She is very weak now, and the doctor said she needs bed rest. I'm afraid she might faint on stage if she stands for too long. The room fell deathly silent. All eyes shifted from my mother to me. I saw the principal's face turn ashen. The teachers whispered and murmured among themselves. No wonder she looked a bit pale. She just had Surgery, I really can't tell. A student with such good grades is so messy in private. Heidi then ran to my side, supporting me with a worried look on her face. Sister, are you okay? You look terrible. Quick, let's go down and rest first. Her voice wasn't loud, but it confirmed what my mother said. I really am physically weak. I pushed her away. I watched the woman on stage who was still performing with tears and sobs. My biological mother, she was still crying and complaining. I'm doing all this for her own good. As her mother, would I ever harm my own daughter? She's just too stubborn and strong-willed, but health is the most important asset. I was afraid she'd exhaust herself and ruin her health, to the point where she might not be able to have children in the future. That's why I resorted to such a desperate measure. What a great mother's love, for the sake of my daughter's health. I would not hesitate to ruin her reputation in front of thousands of people. I laughed for no reason. My mother turned around and looked at me in astonishment. What are you laughing at? I walked step by step to stand before her. From her hand, I took back the microphone. Mom, my voice was not loud, but through the microphone, it clearly spread throughout the entire auditorium. Are you done? My mom was stunned by my reaction. She stared at me blankly, unable to speak. I ignored her and turned to the school leaders in the audience. I bowed deeply. I'm sorry, principal, and all the teachers. I apologize for disrupting the opening ceremony due to my personal family matters. My tone was calm. The principal's expression softened slightly. Student, I interrupted him. I would like to clarify what my mother just said. I turned around and faced the entire school. First, I am not pregnant, and I have never had an abortion. Second, my personal life is very clean. After saying that, I looked at my mom. Mom, I know you mean well for me. You want me to get the exchange student spot, but you also worry about my health and are afraid I'll be too exhausted, so you want to use this method to make the school think I have poor character and disqualify me. Then, let my equally academically excellent and physically healthy cousin Heidi take my place, right? As soon as I finished speaking, Heidi's face instantly turned pale. My aunt was also flustered and quickly waved her hands. What nonsense are you talking, child? We didn't do anything. My mother's face turned even more unsightly. She never expected that I would expose her in front of everyone. She was trembling with anger, pointing at me. You ungrateful child. After all the hard work I put into raising you, this is how you slander me. She started crying again, her acting so convincing. How could I have raised such an ungrateful wretch like you? Every word I said is the truth. Do you dare to go to the hospital for a checkup? She is forcing me to use self-justification to wash away the dirt she has thrown on me. No matter the outcome, the fact that I am under suspicion has already become a reality. The rumors and gossip will follow me forever. In my previous life, it was exactly like this. She drove me to a dead end. To quell the public opinion, the school advised me to withdraw, and she, only when I was pushed to the brink, reluctantly apologized. I meant well. Who knew they would actually believe it? I raised the microphone and said to everyone in the audience, I can go to the hospital for an examination to prove my innocence, but before that, I'd like everyone to watch a short video. As I spoke, I took out my phone and connected it to the auditorium's large screen. In the video, my mom, my aunt, and Heidi were sitting on the sofa. It's settled then. Tomorrow, your aunt, Heidi, and I will go to the school together. Nancy is the student representative, so the teacher definitely values her. Let her go talk to the teacher and say she's not feeling well, then voluntarily give the opportunity to her cousin. The teacher will surely agree when they see how considerate she is. The auditorium once again fell into a deathly silence. Everyone stared at the screen in stunned silence. My mother stood frozen in place as if struck by lightning. She pointed at me, unable to utter a single word. You. Heidi had already collapsed to the ground in terror. My aunt screamed out loud. You recorded it. You actually recorded it secretly. I turned off the video and put away my phone. I'm just used to casually documenting my life. I looked at my mom. Mom, now, do you still want me to go to the hospital for a checkup, or should we call the police first and let them determine whether this kind of public slander and false accusation constitutes defamation? My mother's body almost couldn't stand steadily. All her disguises were torn to shreds by me in public. The murmurs from the audience surged. Oh my God, is that mother really her biological mother? Just to let her niece take her place, she would ruin her own daughter like this. That cousin isn't a good person either. She's way too scheming. I looked at my mother's face, feeling no trace of satisfaction in my heart. At that moment, several school security guards rushed onto the stage. Parents, please leave immediately. My mother, being dragged away by the security guards, was still screaming hysterically at me. I am your mother. You can't treat me like this. You'll regret this. You Will definitely regret it." Aunt and Heidi were also dragged away from the scene. The farce finally came to an end. The principal walked over to me and patted me on the shoulder. "Student, you've been wronged. The school will definitely give you justice." "Thank you, principal." I held my speech and walked off the stage. I had just stepped out of the auditorium when someone blocked my way. It was Simon, my ex-boyfriend. His face was pale with anger as he grabbed my wrist. "Nancy, are you crazy? In my previous life, he was like this too. But back then his eyes were filled with disdain and evasion, whereas now, they are filled with anger." I quietly watched him without saying a word. "That's your mother, even if she was in the wrong. You can't embarrass her like that in front of the whole school. Have you ever thought about how I feel? What will others think of me? What will they say about me having a girlfriend who even schemes against her own mother?" All he ever cared about was his pride. I smiled. "Girlfriend." I pulled my hand free, then raised it and slapped him with all my might. Slap. The sharp sound made the passing classmates stop in their tracks. "Simon, who the hell do you think you are, to meddle in my family affairs?" I pointed at him and said, word by word, "Don't think everyone is obsessed with your pretentious face. Get lost. From now on, you are dumped by me. Don't show up in front of me again, or I'll beat you up every time I see you." Simon covered his face, completely bewildered. The pointing and whispering around him made his face turn pale and then flush with embarrassment. You're being unreasonable." I couldn't be bothered to spare him another glance, turned around, and walked away, blocking and deleting him in one swift motion. My life needs a fresh start, and the first step is to take out the trash. When I got home, the house was in a mess. My dad was sitting on the sofa, smoking one cigarette after another. Seeing me return, he put out his cigarette. "Your mom locked herself in the room and hasn't eaten all day." He spoke with a tone of weariness and helplessness. I didn't react much and prepared to go back to my room. "Nancy," my dad stopped me, "is there some kind of misunderstanding about this matter? Your mom, although she sometimes speaks and acts without considering the consequences, she has a good heart. She definitely means well for you." This line again, "for my own good, for my own good." By announcing in front of thousands of people that I got pregnant and had an abortion, give my opportunity to someone else, even at the cost of ruining my reputation. "Dad, if this is what you consider doing what's best for me, then I'd rather not have it." My father was left speechless by my words and finally let out a sigh. "She is your mother." "Yes, she's my mom." I gave a self-deprecating laugh. "So whatever she does is right, and I just have to take it. Is that it?" I ignored him and turned to enter the room, locking the door behind me. Early the next morning, I was woken by a loud, frantic knocking at the door. "Nancy, get the hell out here." I opened the door, and with a sharp crack, a slap landed hard across my face. It stung fiercely. "You beast, were you born in the wrong womb just to torment me? How could I have given birth to such an ungrateful wretch? You've ruined everything for me. May you die a miserable death." She frantically tore at my hair, cursing me with the most vicious words. How could I have given birth to such an ungrateful creature? For the sake of a lousy opportunity, you actually schemed against your own mother. Let me tell you, as long as I'm alive, don't even think about getting that exchange student spot. My dad and aunt also rushed in. They pulled my mom away, but her mouth kept cursing nonstop. I covered my face and said nothing. I just watched her coldly. Heidi ran over hypocritically. "Sister, don't blame Auntie. She was just confused for a moment. It's all my fault. If I hadn't brought up the exchange student matter, none of this would have happened." As she spoke, tears fell, and she acted pitifully. I looked at her and suddenly laughed. "Is that so? Then it's not too late for you to back out now." Heidi's sobbing abruptly stopped, and a flicker of panic crossed her face. My aunt immediately pushed me away. "Stop bullying people here. Why should Heidi be the one to back out? Your mother is right. An unfilial daughter like you doesn't deserve to go." My mother also chimed in. "That's right, she doesn't deserve it. This spot must be Heidi's. I'll go plead with them again, and make them give the spot to Heidi," she said, and really was about to rush out. My dad finally couldn't hold back and yelled, "Fucking enough. Isn't it embarrassing enough already? Look at what you've become." My mother was stunned by his shout, then cried even harder. "You actually yelled at me. You yelled at me for this ungrateful daughter. Fine, you two, father and daughter, are ganging up to bully me. What's the point of me living anymore? I don't want to live," she cried out as she ran towards the window, making a move as if to jump. The house instantly fell into chaos. My dad and aunt hurried over to pull her back. I stood where I was, watching the farce unfold with cold indifference. At that moment, my mom suddenly stopped. She clutched her stomach, her face turning pale. "Ouch, my stomach hurts." Cold sweat beaded on her forehead, her expression full of pain. My aunt panicked. "Sis, what's wrong?" Don't scare me, my mother said weakly. I don't know. It's just waves of sharp pain. My dad also got anxious. Hurry, call an ambulance. My aunt frantically searched for her phone, watching my mom in pain. I felt no emotion at all. According to the date I secretly switched the medicine. It should be about 2 weeks now. My mom was still groaning, wondering if she had eaten something bad. My aunt also started guessing blindly. Was it because you didn't eat last night and got stomach cramps? My dad urged. Stop guessing. Call an ambulance quickly. I slowly walked over and crouched in front of my mom. Mom, have you been getting tired easily lately? And have you been feeling nauseous all the time? My mother paused for a moment and looked at me. How did you know? I smiled and took out my phone. Because I'm not feeling well either. How about we go to the hospital together? I didn't call an ambulance. I dialed another number that I had already saved. The call was quickly answered. I put it on speakerphone. A loud man's voice came through the receiver. Hello, who is this? My mother's body trembled violently the moment she heard the voice. She looked at me, her eyes filled with fear and disbelief. You. The man on the other end of the phone was my mother's first love, Uncle Bob. My father's face instantly darkened. Nancy, who are you calling? I didn't answer him, just quietly looked at my mother. Uncle Bob on the other end of the phone didn't hear a response and asked again, hello? Speak up, who is it? My mother's body began to tremble uncontrollably. She wanted to snatch my phone, but due to her stomach pain, she couldn't muster any strength. Hang up the phone, she said hoarsely. I smiled faintly. Mom, aren't you having a stomachache? Uncle Bob is a doctor. Isn't it just right to let him listen for you? Uncle Bob is a well-known obstetrician-gynecologist in the city. All our relatives know about this. Aunt's expression changed, and she looked at my mother with a complicated gaze. I said into the phone, hello, Uncle Bob, I'm Nancy. Oh, it's Nancy, what can I do for you? Well, my mom isn't feeling well, and I was hoping you could take a look at her, I said casually. She's been feeling nauseous and having stomach pains lately. There was silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds. The professional sensitivity of an obstetrician made him realize something instantly. When was your mother's last menstrual period? As soon as this question was asked, the air in the room seemed to freeze. My father stared intently at my mother's stomach. You, tell me, what on earth is going on? My mother's lips had lost all color. She stared at me fiercely, her eyes looking as if she wanted to devour me, but the fear in her eyes still betrayed her. She was afraid. I was afraid that the secret she had hidden for over 10 years would be exposed by me just like that. Seeing that my mother wasn't speaking, I kindly reminded her, Mom, Uncle Bob is asking you a question. My mother trembled, unable to utter a single word. Seeing this, my aunt quickly stepped in to mediate. Dear Wang, my sister just has an upset stomach from eating something bad. It's nothing serious, so we won't trouble you any further. As she spoke, she reached out to snatch my phone. I dodged lightly, avoiding her hand. Aunt, my mother's health is what matters most. Uncle Bob is an expert. We'll feel reassured only after he diagnoses her. I held the phone close to my mother's mouth once again. Mom, say something. Under my intense gaze, my mother finally broke down. She pushed me away and screamed at me hysterically. What do you want? Do you want to drive me to my death? With that movement, her stomach pain intensified. She curled up on the ground, moaning in agony. My father's expression could no longer be described as just unpleasant. He walked step by step toward my mother, looking down at her from above. You'd better give me an explanation. His voice was as cold as ice. My mother was in so much pain. She couldn't speak, just shaking her head repeatedly. I watched the scene, my heart as calm as still water. I hung up the phone and then called an ambulance. The ambulance arrived quickly. The medical staff lifted my mother onto a stretcher. My father didn't even glance at her the entire time. Aunt and Heidi went to the hospital. In the evening, my father came back. He had drunk a lot and was reeking of alcohol. Are the results out? He nodded, his voice hoarse. Pregnant, ectopic pregnancy. He lifted his head, his eyes red as he looked at me. The child is his. I'm not surprised. In my previous life, after I died, my mother also fell ill. It was because of a ruptured ectopic pregnancy that she almost didn't make it. At that time, I thought it was just retribution for all the evil she had done. It wasn't until I was reborn that I pieced everything together. My mom never lost contact with Uncle Bob. Why? My dad clutched his hair in agony. What did I ever do to let her down? All these years, I've given her my heart and soul, so why is she treating me like this? I didn't answer him, because I don't know the answer either. Perhaps, not loving someone is the original sin. Nancy, did you know all along? I fell silent. He laughed at himself mockingly. Yeah, I'm really foolish, you all knew, and I was the only one kept in the dark like a fool. He picked up the bottle on the table and was about to take another swig. I held his hand. Dad, stop drinking, you still have me. He looked at me, tears falling down. A man nearing 50 was crying like a child. From today onward, this family is completely broken. My mother's surgery was very successful, but she has completely fallen apart. She lay on the hospital bed, her eyes vacant. When she saw me, she showed no reaction. When my aunt saw me, her expression was somewhat awkward. Your mother is in a bad mood. Don't take it to heart. I nodded and put down the fruit basket in my hand. I walked to the bedside and looked at my mother. Mom, how are you feeling? She still ignored me. I didn't mind and continued talking to myself. Dad already knows. He plans to divorce you. My mother's body jolted violently. She finally turned her head and stared at me intently. That gaze was filled with venomous hatred. It's you. It's all because of you, you jinx. Ever since you came along, I haven't had a single good day. I truly regret not having strangled you back then. My aunt was startled and quickly covered her mouth. Sis. What nonsense are you talking about? My mother struggled, still wanting to continue scolding. I stared at her coldly. Go ahead and scold. After all, there won't be many chances left in the future. The divorce agreement has already been drafted by the lawyer. As Dad instructed, you won't get a single penny from the house, the car, or the savings, because you were the one who cheated during the marriage. My mother's eyes widened even more. She couldn't believe that the man who had always been so obedient to her would be so ruthless. Impossible. He wouldn't dare. He loves me so much. He wouldn't do this to me. She seemed to be trying to convince me, or perhaps herself. I took out my phone and played a recording. It was my dad's drunken truth last night. Finally, he said, I really want to kill her. After the recording finished, my mom fell completely silent. The color drained completely from her face. Auntie, I advise you to also make plans early. What do you mean, Dad's company is currently auditing the accounts. I heard that someone has been embezzling a significant amount of public funds by taking advantage of their position, and that person, it seems, is my uncle. I helped my dad organize his company's accounts in my previous life, so I know exactly where the loopholes are. My aunt's face immediately darkened. You're making baseless accusations. I didn't say anything. I'm just reminding you, in these troubled times, it's better to be cautious. After saying that, I ignored them and turned to leave the hospital room. When I returned to school, my academic advisor found me. He told me that regarding the exchange student spots, the school had discussed and decided to reopen the selection process in a fair, just, and open manner. As I stepped out of the office, I ran into Heidi. When she saw me, she avoided eye contact and tried to walk around me. I called out to stop her. Heidi, she stopped in her tracks and forced a smile. Sister, my mom is in the hospital. Aren't you going to visit her? I've been too busy with my studies lately. Did she? I walked up to her and stared her down. I heard you've been busy dating Simon lately. Heidi's face instantly turned bright red. You're talking nonsense. We're just ordinary friends. Ordinary friends. I smiled and didn't use the photos to provoke her any further. All right. I wish you happiness. I left those words behind and walked past her. I knew that she and Simon were just using each other for their own needs, and I have more important things to do. The selection for exchange students has begun. On the day of the written exam, I saw Heidi. She was wearing a white dress, looking pure and innocent. When she saw me, she even took the initiative to greet me. Sister, you're here too. She looked me up and down, a scornful smile curling at the corner of her lips. However, opportunities like this should be fair for everyone to compete. It's not like some people whose families have had such incidents. I wonder if the judges will mind. There was a hint of barely perceptible provocation in her tone. I ignored her and walked straight into the examination hall. In my previous life, I had prepared for this exam for a long time. I had every piece of knowledge memorized by heart. This time, it was even more of a sure thing. When the written test results came out, I unsurprisingly took first place. Heidi ranked fifth, barely making it to the interview. On the day of the interview, we were assigned to the same group. There were 3 interviewers. One was our dean, and the other 2 were foreign professors. Heidi was ahead of me in line. She gave a very impressive self-introduction in fluent English. She talked about her humble family background and how she overcame difficulties and studied hard. She spoke of her longing for prestigious foreign universities. She was so expressive and emotional that she nearly moved herself to tears. The 2 foreign professors were clearly touched by her story. The dean also nodded in satisfaction. It's my turn. My self-introduction was very simple. I only mentioned my name, my major, and my academic achievements. There was no exaggeration of hardship, no emotional appeal. The dean seemed somewhat disappointed. A foreign professor asked, "Classmate, we see that your written exam results are excellent, but we believe that an outstanding exchange student not only needs excellent grades but also strong psychological qualities and adaptability. Do you think you possess these qualities?" This question is Clearly aimed at the messy issues in my family. I suspect Heidi has been working hard behind the scenes. I looked at him and answered without arrogance or servility. I believe I am qualified, because I have experience to spare, and I have overcome it. Nothing can temper a person's will more than having faced death once. My words left the 3 interviewers stunned. I didn't explain, I simply looked at them calmly. I know they will investigate, and the results of the investigation will only be in my favor. After the interview, Heidi and I met in the hallway. She looked at me with a smug expression. Sister, I think I performed quite well this time. Who do you think the school will choose? I looked at her hypocritical face and found it somewhat amusing. Take a guess. The results were announced very quickly. The school's official website has published the final list of selected candidates. I was reading in the library when I saw the list. My phone vibrated. It was a WeChat message from Heidi. A screenshot. It's an official notice from the website. Why? I replied with 2 words, because I said so. Then, block. I thought that was the end of it. Unexpectedly, Heidi still wouldn't give up. She found my dad's company. She wanted my dad to step in and go to the school to have me give up my spot for her. In the end, she was directly chased out by the security guards at my dad's company, because my uncle's embezzlement of public funds was discovered, with both witnesses and evidence present. He has been taken away by the police for investigation. My aunt went to the company and caused a scene, claiming that my father had framed her. My father directly sent a lawyer's letter to her home, suing her for defamation. After that, my aunt completely quieted down, and my mother has been living at my aunt's house ever since she was discharged from the hospital. She doesn't dare go home, nor does she dare see my father. I heard she used all her savings to hire a lawyer for my uncle. Unfortunately, it didn't help much. The amount embezzled was huge, and a prison sentence is unavoidable. This family is completely ruined. I have completed all the procedures and am ready to go abroad. The day before departure, I received an unexpected phone call. It was Uncle Bob who called. He asked to meet with me. We met at a cafe. Uncle Bob looked much more haggard than the last time. He just looked at me quietly. You look a lot like your mother, he spoke, his voice a bit hoarse. I didn't say anything. He gave a bitter smile. I know, you hate her, and you hate me too. I admitted it straightforwardly. Yes, I hate you. I hate your selfishness, which destroyed 2 families. He remained silent for a long time before he slowly began to speak. What happened back then was my fault. I shouldn't have continued to be involved with her after she got married. I thought we were just friends. Friends, I sneered. Friends who sleep together. My words left no room for courtesy. His face instantly turned deathly pale. I'm sorry. I know it's too late for any explanations now. I came to see you today not to ask for your forgiveness. I just wanted to tell you some things. He said that back then, he and my mother were truly in love, but he was poor, and my grandparents absolutely refused to agree. They even threatened to cut off ties with my mother. My mother had no choice but to marry my father after getting married. She was never happy until later. She met him again. Old flames rekindled, and it got out of control. She told me she doesn't love your father, and being with him makes her feel suffocated and miserable. She said you are her only hope. Hope? I felt as if I had heard the biggest joke in the world. Using me as a tool to scheme against others. Is that what she calls hope? Using me as a bargaining chip to exchange for what she wants? Is that her hope? If that is her hope, then I would rather she never had any hope at all. Uncle Bob closed his eyes in pain. Nancy, I know she has done many wrong things, but she really does love you. She just went about it the wrong way. Love me. Loving me means pouring dirty water all over me. Love me. Is it for your own selfish desires that you're willing to ruin my entire life? Uncle Bob, you're also a father with a daughter. If your daughter went through the same things I did, would you still be here defending her mother? He was completely speechless. Yes, you never know how much it hurts until the needle pricks your own skin. He thinks he knows my mother well. In reality, he knows nothing. He has no idea how controlling my mother can be. I have no idea how terrible her vanity is. I don't even know how far she would go to achieve her goals. Her so-called love is cheap and ridiculous. I'm here today for another reason. Uncle Bob took a bank card out of his bag and pushed it toward me. There's some money in here. Not much, but consider it my compensation to you. I looked at the card but didn't move. I don't need it. I know you don't need it. But, your mother asked me to give this to you. I froze for a moment. She said she's sorry. She said that the person she has let down the most in her life is you. She hopes you can use this money to live well abroad and never come back again. I looked at him and suddenly understood. This is not compensation. This is hush money. She was afraid I would spill all her dirty secrets. Afraid she wouldn't be able to keep her last shred of dignity. How ridiculous, at this point, what she was still thinking about was herself. I picked up that card, just as Uncle Bob thought I would accept it. I broke it in half right in front of him, then I threw it into the nearby trash can. Tell her, the game has only just begun. I won't let this go. I left the cafe without looking back. I didn't go home. I went to my aunt's house. I knocked on the door. Heidi opened the door. She looked at me as if she had seen a ghost. Why are you here? She looked terrible, with heavy dark circles under her eyes, completely devoid of her usual vitality. I ignored her and walked straight in. The house was small and messy. Aunt was sitting on the sofa, sighing heavily. When she saw me, she froze for a moment, then stood up. What are you doing here? You're not welcome in our home. My mother came out of the room. She was wearing pajamas, her hair was messy, and her eyes looked vacant. When she saw me, as if provoked by something, she suddenly screamed, "What are you doing here, you jinx? Get out!" She casually grabbed an apple from the table and threw it at me. I didn't dodge. The apple hit my forehead, and it hurt badly. I looked at her and smiled. "Mom, I'm leaving tomorrow. I came to say goodbye to you." My words made my mother stop what she was doing. She looked at me with a complicated expression in her eyes. "Leave? Where do you think you can go?" She sneered. "Do you think going abroad will allow you to escape me? I'm telling you, Nancy, you will always be my daughter. You have my blood running through your veins. Don't even think about cutting ties with me in this lifetime." Auntie chimed in as well. "Exactly. Don't forget who changed your diapers and raised you from infancy. Now that you've grown wings, you want to deny your own mother. Have you no conscience?" Heidi also spoke up timidly. "Sis, Auntie, she really misses you a lot. What a ridiculous family. Even now, they're still putting on an act." "I'm not here to argue with you today." I took a document out of my bag and placed it on the table. "This is the severance agreement. I have already signed it. As long as you sign it too, from now on, we go our separate ways, with no further ties." All three of them froze in shock. They probably didn't expect me to be this decisive. My mother was the first to react. She rushed over like a madwoman and tore the agreement to shreds. "Cut ties. Don't even think about it. I'm telling you, Nancy, I'll never agree to this, even if I die." She suddenly rushed into the kitchen and came out with a kitchen knife in her hand. She pointed the knife at me, her eyes bloodshot and her face twisted with rage. "You think you're all grown up now? It's all your fault. You've destroyed our family. Your dad divorced you. Your uncle was arrested. It's all because of you, you jinx. You think you can just walk away now? No way." She stepped closer, the tip of the knife glinting coldly. "Today, you either leave all the money for studying abroad with me, or we'll perish together. I gave you life, and I can destroy you." Her ugly true nature was fully exposed. "She doesn't love me, she only loves my worth. Once I lose my value or am no longer willing to be used by her, I become her greatest enemy in her eyes." I look at Heidi, "And you, Heidi, do you think what you did went completely unnoticed by anyone? In order to secure the exchange student spot, you anonymously reported me to the school, accusing me of academic fraud and misconduct. Do you really think I didn't know?" Heidi's face instantly turned deathly pale. I didn't. You didn't." I took out my phone and played a recording. It was her call history with her friend. That fool actually thought I was genuinely good to her. Once I secure the spot and go abroad, who would even remember who she is? Heidi collapsed to the ground, unable to utter a single word. I casually sent the recording to Simon, along with a message. "Your new girlfriend is quite cunning." My aunt was dumbfounded, trembling with anger. Watching this chaotic scene, I felt no more turmoil in my heart. Facing the knife in my mother's hand, I didn't step back but instead moved forward, offering my neck. "Come on." I calmly looked into her frenzied eyes. "You said you regretted not strangling me. Now's your chance. Stab right here, and it'll all be over. Then you can go demand a hefty compensation for emotional distress from my dad. Maybe even extort Uncle Bob for life." My mother was stunned by my actions. Her hand holding the knife began to tremble, and though she continued to curse under her breath, she didn't dare actually strike. That's just the kind of person she is, fierce on the outside but weak on the inside, bullying the weak but fearing the strong. I pushed her knife-wielding hand aside and resolutely walked out the door behind me. I could hear her helpless, furious screams and the sound of things being smashed. I didn't look back. I know my life, from this moment on, has truly begun. After hearing the second story above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Next, there is another similar story. Let's continue to see. The kidnapper made my husband choose between me and his first love. Our son whispered to my husband, "Dad, let's choose Aunt Jenny. She's timid and can't handle being scared." My husband nodded in agreement, praising our son for being sensible. My son forgot that the reason I was kidnapped was to save him. Suddenly, I grew tired. Since None of you chose me, I'll just give up on all of you as well. Jenny, we're going to ransom her. Hearing the choice my husband and son made in front of the kidnappers, my heart remained completely calm. A few minutes ago, they had a quiet discussion, and I heard every word. They forgot that ever since I became a mother, I've had a remarkable ability. No matter how far away, I can always hear my son's voice. My son often gets very angry with me because of this. Mom, are you a stalker? How do you know everything I do? Later, in order to reduce conflicts with my child, I chose to ignore it. Over time, he also forgot that I had the superpower exclusive to mothers. Kevin looked at me with a complicated expression in his eyes, but his hand was already tightly holding Jenny's. Why force someone to stay if they can't be kept? I lifted my gaze to look at him. Kevin, you should take Andy and Miss Jenny and go first. Hearing this, Kevin secretly breathed a sigh of relief. He assured me, don't worry, once they're safe, I'll find a way to rescue you. In such a short time, the Green family simply couldn't gather 2 ransoms. From the moment he chose Jenny, he already knew what my outcome would be, didn't he? My son urged impatiently. Dad, hurry up, Aunt Jenny is so scared she's trembling. I looked at my son, who hadn't given me a single glance the entire time, and smiled thinly at the corners of my mouth. He forgot that the reason I was kidnapped was because I exchanged myself for him. I brought him into this world without permission. Now that I've taken his place, the bond between mother and son ends here. After Kevin left with his men, the kidnapper's gaze fell on me once again. The scar-faced men stared at me and said in a hostile tone, Boss, this woman is pitifully foolish. Her husband and son have abandoned her. Why not let me have some fun with her first? I stepped back in terror, my heart pounding in my throat. The kidnapper leader slapped the scarred man on the back of the head, cursing with displeasure. Are you stupid? What kind of time is this to be thinking about that kind of thing? This location is compromised. We need to move quickly. I was relieved that the kidnapper leader was rational, which bought me some time to save myself. They dragged me into the car, preparing to head to the next stronghold. Amid the violent shaking, the necklace around my neck accidentally fell off. It was a gift from Kevin for our wedding anniversary. The only present he ever gave me, and something I have always cherished deeply. I was the one chosen by Mrs. Green to be her marriage partner. Jenny was his first love, and a first love is something that is remembered forever, a presence that always holds a small place in the heart for a lifetime. When I found out about Jenny, I was already pregnant with Andy. The matter was already settled, and I didn't even have a chance to regret it. For the sake of the child, I had no choice but to endure in silence. But I never expected that even my most precious child would ultimately choose Jenny. I can only rely on myself to get out of this predicament. The car slowly came to a stop after passing by a gas station on the side, perhaps thinking that I had been abandoned by both my husband and child. With no ability to seek help or resist, the kidnappers didn't keep a close watch on me. They only tied my hands with a zip tie. I can see the scene outside through the gap in the car window. To my surprise, I am very familiar with this gas station. This road is the one I take every morning to drop my son off at school, and the gas station is a place I often visit. I know there is a pool hall behind the gas station. By accident, I stumbled in, and what seemed like a simple pool bar was actually a brutal and terrifying underground fighting ring. Inside, there was not only a group of aggressive and violent young people but also a powerful and fierce boss. That time, I was so terrified by the fierce boss that I had nightmares for 3 days straight. Between a nightmare and being killed, I chose the nightmare without hesitation. While the kidnapper leaned out to scan the code for payment, I carefully hooked the car door open with my foot and quickly ran out. The kidnapper noticed something was wrong, jumped out of the car, and chased after me. I didn't have time to think too much. Relying on my familiarity with the terrain, I quickly ran toward the pool hall. Help, save me, please. The sudden cry instantly silenced the previously noisy pool hall. I spotted the fierce looking boss sitting in the corner drinking cola and immediately rushed toward him. Boss, save me. The speed was too fast, and I couldn't brake in time. As I approached, I stumbled forward and ended up kneeling right between his legs. The atmosphere became awkward for a moment. A man's gloomy voice sounded above my head. What grudge do you hold against me that you would ruin my happiness for the rest of my life? I stammered an apology. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, but could you please save me? First, the man glanced down at me, his brow furrowed tightly, but he said nothing. Several kidnappers had already rushed in. The scar-faced man roared and tried to grab me. He was stopped by the underlings in the place. The scarred man was furious. I'm dealing with my own woman, so mind your own damn business, or I'll make sure you regret it. I shook my head desperately. I'm not his woman. They're kidnappers. Please, call the police. Hearing my words, the kidnapper leader signaled his men to Show their weapons. He brandished a machete at Boss Lucas. Kid, give her back to me, and I'll consider you a friend. We're all just trying to survive by living on the edge. If you want to see bloodshed, go ahead and try. Hearing the kidnapper's threat, the person beside him advised Boss Lucas, Lucas, we don't need to cause trouble for an unrelated person. If the police get involved, we'll be in trouble too. A chill ran down my spine. I almost forgot. This is an underground fighting ring that operates in the shadows. Why would they call the police for me? It's even more impossible for him to fight a desperate man for my sake. My heart gradually sank. I slowly stood up and bowed to Boss Lucas. I've caused you trouble today. With that said, I turned and walked toward the direction of the kidnappers. The scarred man stared at me with a look of triumph in his eyes. You little bitch, still dare to run? I'll cripple you later, so you'll never have a chance to stand up again in this lifetime. He reached up to grab my hair. Suddenly, a swift wind brushed past his ear. The next second, the scar-faced man let out a piercing scream. The Swiss Army knife that Boss Lucas had been toying with just moments before was now firmly embedded in the scar-faced man's palm. Boss Lucas, who had been reclining in the lounge chair earlier, was now standing up, coldly scanning the kidnappers. I hate people with foul mouths the most. With me here today, no one is taking this woman away. The kidnapper leader instantly flew into a rage upon hearing this. He shouted, "Get them!" 6 or 7 kidnappers charged at us, brandishing machetes. Boss Lucas pulled me back and threw me to a safe spot, then immediately joined the fight. His martial arts skills were impressive. The 2 kidnappers together were no match for him. Seeing Boss Lucas join the fight, the others from the boxing gym immediately jumped in as well. Although the kidnappers were ruthless, they were no match for these long-term trained boxers. Soon, the kidnappers were at a disadvantage. The kidnapper leader was beaten black and blue by Boss Lucas and lay on the ground, unable to get up. While clearing the scene, the police finally arrived. The gas station staff had called the police. Boss Lucas pulled out the small knife stuck in the scarred man's palm and cut the zip tie on my hands. I didn't have time to check my injuries and quickly thanked him. "Thank you for saving me." Boss Lucas glanced at my wrist. "You're welcome. Clean up yourself." Seeing that he was about to leave, I quickly stopped him. "Wait, I still don't know your name, my savior." He raised an eyebrow and said calmly, "Lucas." I was slightly taken aback. I never expected such a cold-looking handsome guy to have such an elegant name, which doesn't quite match his temperament. After finishing the statement at the police station, I unexpectedly saw Lucas there too. I quickly ran toward him. "I'm really sorry about today. You saved me, and I ended up causing you so much trouble." With an apologetic heart, I spoke incoherently, not even daring to lift my head. "As long as you need me, I can do anything for you." Lucas's cold voice came from above. "Anything?" Afraid he wouldn't believe me, I immediately looked up with utmost sincerity and said, "Yes, you saved my life. I'll agree to anything." Lucas curled his lips into a smile. "Even becoming my wife?" I was slightly stunned, my brain instantly freezing. He curled his lip in boredom and turned to leave. After a moment of hesitation, I shouted at his retreating figure, "Sure, as long as you don't mind that I've been married and have a child." Lucas stopped in his tracks, turned around, and moved closer to me. He lowered his head, his handsome face right in front of me, staring at me with a strange look in his eyes. The faint scent of tobacco on him drifted through my nostrils and invaded my mind. "If I don't mind, are you really willing to be my wife? In my past life, I lived by the rules. I accepted my parents' arrangement and married Kevin through a blind date. After getting pregnant, I followed Kevin's advice and quit my job to take care of the child at home. In the end, both my husband and son abandoned me. I lived according to others' wishes, yet I failed so miserably. I only want to live for myself." I nodded subconsciously. "Really?" Before I could finish my words, a man's angry roar came from behind. "What are you guys doing?" I turned around and saw Kevin standing not far away with our son, glaring at me angrily. My son came up to me and angrily pushed Lucas away. "Mom, Dad, and I came all the way to save you. How could you get involved with such a shady man?" I glanced at Jenny, who was standing not far away with a smug smile on her face. I already had the answer in my heart. Kevin also frowned, his eyes filled with disgust. I looked up and met his gaze. "Save me? So, you've raised the ransom?" Kevin was slightly taken aback, his expression turning somewhat unnatural, and he avoided meeting my gaze. I let out an unkind, cold laugh. "Ha, you haven't even raised the money, and you say you're here to save me. With what? By trading yourself?" Before Kevin could respond, our son rushed to answer for his father. Dad took Aunt Jenny to get her wounds treated, then immediately brought us to report to the police, so the officers could save you. I glanced at the bandage on Jenny's forehead. "We need to handle this quickly. Any later, and the wound might have healed on its own." No wonder they only arrived at the police station after I finished giving my statement. After saying that, I turned my gaze toward Kevin. Aren't you worried that calling the police would anger the kidnappers and provoke them into extreme actions? So why aren't you worried about that when it comes to me? Kevin was left speechless, as if someone had suddenly grabbed him by the throat, cutting off his voice. Seeing this, Jenny immediately wrapped her arms around Andy and stepped in front of Kevin. Linda, it's all my fault. If you're angry, directed at me, don't blame Kevin. He had no choice. Andy is still young. Please don't hurt him like this. I smirked. Miss Jenny, we are a family of 3 speaking here. What is your status? How dare you jump in and speak on behalf of my husband? Lucas seized the opportunity to add, I've seen people eager to be the other woman, but never someone rushing to be a stepmother, having her ulterior motives exposed. Jenny's face turned extremely unpleasant. With reddened eyes, she sobbed quietly. Seeing this, their son was the first to break. He struggled out of Jenny's arms and yelled at me angrily, I just want Aunt Jenny to be my mom. She's gentle, beautiful, and knows how to care about me. She doesn't force me to study every day just for the sake of appearances. Both Dad and I like her. I looked up at Kevin. Do you like it too? Kevin remained silent, only remembering to explain after a long pause. I interrupted him. Let's get a divorce. A flicker of joy crossed the son's face, his eyes sparkling as he looked toward Jenny. It seemed he was extremely satisfied with the proposal. Kevin, however, grew anxious. Linda, I don't have feelings for Jenny. Andy is just a child. He doesn't know what he's saying. You're going to get a divorce over such a trivial matter. That's really irrational. I laughed in disbelief. Just childish nonsense. Kevin seemed to snap back to reality. Are you still holding on to the kidnapping incident? I gave you a choice back then, and you agreed to let us save Jenny first. Yes, I nodded. I let you save Jenny first because I wanted to test you, to see what your true choice would be, and you really chose her. Kevin, you're so disappointing. Kevin's face instantly turned pale, all the color draining away. His mouth opened and closed, but in the end, he said nothing. I walked past him and approached Lucas. I have nowhere to go right now. Can you take me in, homeless? I followed Lucas home. As soon as we entered, a small pink ball came rushing toward us. Dad, I'm here. The sweet, soft voice brought a surge of joy to my heart. Lucas bent down, picked up the little pink bundle, and gently removed the plush headpiece from her head. The adorable little face of the pink bundle was immediately revealed before my eyes. When I was pregnant with Andy, I always hoped to have a baby girl. Little did I expect to give birth to a stinky little boy who drives me crazy all day long. The little pink dumpling stared at me with sparkling eyes. Daddy, is this the mommy you found for me? Before I could speak, she stretched out her 2 little white arms and threw herself at me. Mommy, Rose missed you so much. I was about to refuse, but Lucas stopped me with a look. The little pink bundle blinked her big eyes and kept snuggling into my arms. It was a while before Lucas reached up to take the little pink bundle. Rose, you can't keep clinging to mommy. She'll get tired. It's almost 9 o'clock. Time for you to go to bed. After hearing Lucas's words, the little pink bundle reluctantly let go of me. Mommy, can you stay with Rose until she falls asleep? There are monsters in my dreams, and Rose is scared. Looking into those lively big eyes, I couldn't bring myself to say no. All right, shall I tell Rose a story? The child was easier to soothe than expected. After 2 stories, Rose was already fast asleep. Her hand was tightly gripping my palm. I was afraid that leaving would wake her up, so I stayed with her for another 10 minutes before letting go of her hand. When I came out of the room, I saw Lucas sitting alone on the sofa in the living room, holding a beer. When he saw me, he turned his head and looked at me. Rose really likes you. I smiled faintly and hesitantly asked, what about her mother? Gone. When she was 6 months old. Lucas's voice was calm, but it made my heart tighten. Such a young child, losing her mother at just 6 months old. It's truly heartbreaking. Lucas stood up and walked towards me, placing a key in my palm. You can stay here. Please take care of Rose, if you mind. I won't come back. I instantly understood what Lucas meant. Rose looks only about 3 or 4 years old, and she's a little girl. It might be inconvenient for Lucas to take care of her all by himself. It's okay, as long as there's a room for me to rest. Consider it as me renting the place from you, and in exchange for the rent, I'll take care of Rose. And so I made an agreement with Lucas. He provided me with accommodation, and I helped him take care of the child. Kevin has been dragging his feet and unwilling to get a divorce. Now he's even turned off his phone, making it impossible for me to find him. After settling Rose, I took a taxi directly to Green's house. I was the one chosen by Mrs. Green as Kevin's blind date. Now, to end this marriage, I also need to ask Mrs. Green to step in. I originally thought this marriage would continue on this uneventful path until the end. Even though Kevin and I didn't have much emotional connection, we had our children, perhaps it would eventually turn out like my parents' marriage, although it was an arranged marriage. Living together respectfully over the years seemed like a decent outcome, but I never expected that Kevin still had feelings for Jenny hidden in his heart. Mrs. Green frowned at me, her eyes full of pity. Linda, is there really no room for turning back? Andy is still so young, even if not for Kevin. Do it for the child. I didn't hide the kidnapping incident after being rescued. I immediately posted about it on social media. Now all my friends know that when faced with a life or death crisis, my husband chose his first love over me. Since they don't act like decent people, why should I cover up for them? I spoke calmly. Grandma, I've already made up my mind. The living room door opened, and Kevin hurried in, followed by the innocent-looking Jenny. Kevin glared at me angrily. You're making a fuss about divorcing me, and then you come running to Grandma to ask for her help. Linda, Grandma is so old and not in good health, and you're still troubling her like this. If you keep making a scene, I will definitely divorce you. Mrs. Green sighed deeply. Linda came to ask me to help persuade you to divorce. Kevin froze in place. I let out a light laugh. Perfect. Since you have no objections either, let's go to the Civil Affairs Bureau today to finalize the divorce procedures. A few seconds later, Kevin responded to me, if you want a divorce, you won't get custody of Andy. Neither Kevin nor the Green family would ever grant me custody of the child. Most importantly, Andy doesn't want me to be his mother. Since neither of them chooses me, why should I force myself on them? Don't worry, Andy's custody will go to you. Apart from the financial support my family provided to the Green family when we got married through the alliance, I don't want anything else. Kevin frowned. There was a hint of anger in Jenny's voice. Linda, you know very well that Kevin's company is currently facing financial difficulties. Withdrawing funds at a time like this, isn't that just forcing Kevin into a corner? Or is it that you don't actually want a divorce, and you're just using this as an excuse to make Kevin back down? Hearing this, Kevin immediately looked up at me, clearly convinced by Jenny's words. I sneered. Do you think for the Green family, is this amount of money more important? Or is Andy more important, at Andy's current age? From a legal perspective, as long as I am willing to fight for custody, the law will definitely be on my side. Jenny's face was full of indignation, and she was still thinking of retorting, but I didn't give her a chance to speak. Miss Jenny, the reason the Green family's financial situation worsened wasn't because of me, it was because of you. Don't forget, not long ago, Kevin had to raise a large sum of money to bail you out. Jenny's face instantly turned extremely unpleasant. Right now, she probably wishes she could dig a hole and crawl into it. For such people, there's no need to be polite at all. Why should I use my dowry to pay for the Green family's expenses after getting divorced? How shameless can they be? I didn't mince my words, and both Jenny and the Green family looked displeased. But no, I don't care about anyone. I sneered at Jenny. If all else fails, Miss Jenny can always go back to her parents. She froze in place as if she had been publicly slapped in the face. If Jenny's family had been willing to pay, Kevin wouldn't have had to cover the ransom in the first place. Old Mrs. Green made the final decision. Kevin, you were in the wrong, and you should admit it. Have the finance department sorted out tomorrow and return the Lynn family's funds. Our Green family can't afford to lose face like this. Kevin's face turned ashen, and he nodded indifferently. On the day I was to get my divorce certificate, I made a point of waking up extra early. As soon as I stepped out of the bedroom, Rose rushed into my arms. Mommy, you look so pretty today. Are you taking Rose out to play? Her sweet, soft voice nearly melted my heart. Mom has something to take care of today. Can Rose wait at home for Mom? Upon learning that she couldn't come along, Rose's little face immediately scrunched up, her eyes reddening as if she was about to cry but didn't dare to. Lucas stepped forward to comfort her, but Rose burst into tears right away. When he found out I was going to get our marriage certificate, Lucas offered to take me there. I'm waiting in the car with Rose. Come find us when you're ready. Great. At the Civil Affairs office, Kevin and the others had already arrived. After getting the divorce certificate, Andy kindly showed it to Jenny. Aunt Jenny, that's wonderful. From now on, you'll be my mom, and we can finally live together. He happily danced and gestured, deliberately raising his voice to get my attention. Perhaps there is no sorrow greater than a dead heart, as my emotions didn't change much seeing me approach. Andy frowned with disgust. Don't come any closer. My custody is with Dad, and I never want to see you again. I spoke calmly. Excuse me, you're blocking the way. Andy froze for a moment, instinctively stepping aside. I walked straight out the door without giving him another glance. Now I have nothing to do with him or the Green family. I just found Lucas's car and was about to open the door to get in. A strong force pulled me back from behind. I didn't expect Kevin to come after me. Still something Perhaps seeing that I was being harassed, Lucas pushed the door open and stood behind me. "Are you okay?" I shook my head. Kevin's eyes shifted back and forth between me and Lucas. "Is this him? No wonder you were so determined to get a divorce. Did you already line up your next partner in advance?" I laughed in anger. "You're allowed to be all lovey-dovey with your first love, but I can't have someone new." "I never expected you to be such a hypocrite." Kevin stood there in a daze as Jenny hurried over with Andy. Seeing this, Jenny quickly spoke up. "Andy, is this the new dad your mom found for you?" My son's already displeased eyes instantly filled with resentment. I raised my hand and slapped Jenny hard across the face. Everyone present was stunned by what they saw. Jenny covered her face, looking at me in disbelief. I retorted coldly, "Miss Jenny, or perhaps I should call you Mistress Jenny. You can call the police if I hit you, but that won't change the fact that you're the other woman in someone else's relationship. If you want to make a scene, I'm more than happy to oblige." Upon hearing my words, a flicker of fear appeared in Jenny's angry eyes. Seeing she was about to speak, I cut her off first. "There's no need for you to deny it. We both know the truth. It takes two to tango, and I never intended to target you, but you repeatedly stirred up trouble in front of my son. He's only a few years old. Do you think it's appropriate to say such things to him?" I glanced sideways at Kevin and said, "You're only fit for someone like this." Kevin's dissatisfied gaze fell on Jenny. Lucas stepped forward, wrapping an arm around my shoulder. "Can we go now?" I didn't want to dwell on the past too much, so I turned and left with Lucas. From behind came the voice of my son. "If you leave with this man, don't ever think about seeing me again." He was wrong. It's not that he won't see me, but that I chose to give up on them. I got into the car with Lucas. The car drove past Kevin and the others sitting in the safety seat. Rose pointed out the window and asked, "Mom, who is that mean brother to you?" I pursed my lips and said, "I don't know him." Originally, it was agreed that I would cook tonight and make cute seaweed rice balls for Rose. However, Lucas took us to a restaurant and ordered a table full of delicious dishes. I was a bit surprised. "Is today a special day?" He raised his glass and invited me to celebrate your new beginning. Rose asked, "Dad, what is a new beginning?" Lucas patiently replied, "The dawn has passed, and the future holds endless beauty." I reached out and gently stroked Rose's hair. "Daddy is just telling Rose that today is a happy day, and tomorrow will be just as happy as today." Rose was so happy that she danced with joy. "That's wonderful. Every day with Daddy and Mommy is so happy." Perhaps infected by Rose's joy, the gloom in my heart was swept away. Taking care of Rose feels completely different from taking care of Andy. Rose is a sweet and thoughtful little darling. No matter what I do, she always showers me with praise, filling me with emotional fulfillment. Andy, on the other hand, acts like a noble prince, treating me as if I were a lowly servant. Doing well is one's duty, but the slightest negligence becomes a grave fault. Perhaps it has to do with Andy's upbringing from a young age. After he turned one, Kevin took him away from me to cultivate an elite child for the Green family. This is also a tradition of the Green family. They believe that a doting mother spoils the child, and only a strong, Eagle-style education can ensure the next generation grows up better. I only had more opportunities to take care of Andy after he started kindergarten, but by that time, Andy had completely become a child of the Green family. As cold and selfish as Kevin, I tried hard to change this situation, showing him more love and tolerance. But the Green family's genes ran deep in his bones, and ignoring me became his daily routine. "Mom, woo-woo." Rose's crying pulled my thoughts back. I turned my head and saw her lying on the floor in front of the slide, crying with red eyes. My heart instantly tightened, and I immediately ran over and picked her up. "Don't be afraid, Rose. Mommy is here." Her knee was scraped, and blood kept oozing out. Just after the wound was cleaned, Lucas arrived. Seeing this, I immediately stood up and lowered my head, saying, "I'm sorry. It's my fault for not watching Rose properly and letting her fall." Rose's voice followed immediately. "It's not Mom's fault. Rose wasn't careful enough." Lucas crouched down, his voice filled with endless tenderness. "Since Rose has already realized her mistake, go apologize to Mom quickly. Don't make Mom worry like this again next time. If you get hurt, what would Mom and Dad do?" Lucas's reaction left me somewhat taken aback. When I was with Andy, I only brushed against him lightly. Not only was I disliked by Andy, but I was also publicly scolded by Kevin. Lucas took my hand and forced me to meet his gaze. "Don't feel guilty. It's common for children of this age to have bumps and falls. This isn't your fault." Perhaps because I had been mistreated for so long, I actually felt a bit unaccustomed to Lucas's gentleness. I carefully withdrew my hand and gave an awkward smile. "I'll be more careful next time," Lucas said seriously. "Remember, before this, you were just you." "That's right. Before being Andy's mom, I was just Linda. I have responsibilities to Andy, but I can't completely lose myself because of him. I never expected that after being so muddled for so long, I would be awakened by just one sentence from Lucas. From now on, I will only be Linda. A little after 1 in the morning, I received a call from Kevin. Where did I put my stomach medicine? I was in the middle of a dream when I was suddenly interrupted, and my temper flared up instantly. Can't a grown-up like you find it yourself? There was a moment of silence on the other end of the line, and just as I was about to hang up, Kevin spoke again. My stomach hurts. What does his stomach ache have to do with me? My anger is at its peak. Ex-husband, if you're sick, go get treatment. Don't bother me if you have nothing to do. After saying that, I immediately hung up the phone. Kevin had stomach problems long before I married him to pursue his career. Kevin often had to attend social engagements. I learned to make nourishing soups to take care of his stomach issues, coaxed him into eating, and made sure he had his meals on time. I carried his stomach medicine with me every day so I could relieve his discomfort as soon as possible. But what did all my efforts get me in return? It was Kevin's indifference, his mockery, and his annoyance at me for meddling in his business. Now that I ignore him, he comes asking with a shameless face, "Ha, what a fool." A few days later, I received another call from Andy. On the other end of the line, he spoke reluctantly. "You need to come to school for parent duty." I laughed in frustration. Good things never come to me, but when it comes to standing on the road as a traffic controller, he remembers me. No time, I continued to emphasize. Also, I'm not your mother anymore. Didn't you choose Jenny as your mother? Go ask her to do your duty. That day, I went to get a new SIM card. From now on, I won't give Trash the chance to mess with me again. Rose is such a thoughtful child. When I made her seaweed rice rolls, her first thought was of Lucas. Mom, this food is so delicious. Can we bring some to Dad? Those big, sparkling eyes were impossible to refuse, so I took her to the pool hall. Lucas was still on the platform practicing with someone, each punch radiating a strong, masculine charm. People around me looked at me with curious eyes, glancing back and forth between me and Rose. Hearing Rose call me Mom, the others immediately shouted, "Hello, sister-in-law." I blushed with embarrassment, not knowing how to respond. My relationship with Lucas is more of a cooperative partnership, with no emotional entanglements. Lucas finished his practice, and Rose presented the seaweed rice rolls to him as if offering a treasure. "Dad, Mom made this for you herself. It's super delicious rice. You should eat it quickly." Lucas looked up and glanced at me. Our eyes met, and I felt my cheeks flush with warmth. I decided to go to the door to get some fresh air. As soon as I stepped out, I ran into the guy who helped Lucas save me last time, if I remember correctly. His name is Leo. Leo greeted me proactively and said, "Sis, do you have a moment to chat?" I nodded and followed him to a corner. Hearing Leo's narration, I was somewhat shocked. "You mean, Rose isn't Lucas's child?" Leo nodded. "Lucas is particularly righteous. Rose is the child of his former comrade in arms. During a rescue mission, his comrade sacrificed himself, and later the child's mother passed away. Lucas felt sorry for the child, so he kept him by his side." I eyed Leo warily. "Why are you telling me this?" Leo smiled faintly. "I mean no harm, and I don't know what's going on between you and Lucas. You're adults, and you have your own ways of handling things. I just feel sorry for Rose. I can tell that child really likes you, and I don't want her to get hurt." I breathed a sigh of relief and looked at him with a serious expression. "Don't worry, I promise you, I won't let Rose get hurt in the slightest." I felt incredibly heartbroken as soon as I heard about her mother's passing. Now that I know the truth about her situation, I have no other thoughts except feeling even more heartbroken for her. That night, I confessed this matter to Lucas. I already know about Rose's background. Lucas had a cigarette in his mouth, squinting slightly as he looked at me. "Do you have any thoughts?" I asked him. "Does Rose know about her background?" Lucas nodded. "Her father was a firefighter. She knows her father was a great hero, and her mother loved her father very much." I abruptly spoke up. "Lucas, let's go to Rose's house and check on her. Let's visit her grandparents and spend some time living with them." Lucas looked at me with some surprise. It seemed he hadn't expected me to have such a wild idea. Leo told me that Lucas wanted to adopt Rose back then. Rose's grandparents did not agree. Lucas promised them that he would return for 3 months every year and guaranteed that he would treat Rose as his own daughter, and only then did the elderly couple agree. They were too old and simply couldn't take care of Rose. Now that the child is gone, Rose is their only hope. They are willing to do anything for Rose's sake. Thinking of those 2 poor old people and poor Rose, my heart aches as if pierced by needles. Even though their own lives are far from ideal, they cannot bear to see others suffer the slightest hardship compared to them. "My past isn't that bad, is it?" A moment later, Lucas suddenly spoke. "All right, it's time to go back and have a look." Rose's grandparents live in a small town in South area, far from the city's hustle and bustle. This place carries a rustic charm. I fell in love with it on the very first day I arrived. Upon learning of our arrival, Rose's grandparents were overjoyed, especially Rose's grandmother, who looked at me with eyes full of delight. I've always been worried that Lucas would be burdened by our family, but seeing you now puts my heart at ease. On the road to the underworld, I can face my unfilial son with dignity. As the words fell, everyone couldn't help but tear up. Fortunately, Rose was a clever little one, climbing onto the sofa and hugging her grandmother while calling out to her repeatedly, instantly restoring a joyful atmosphere. In the evening, the small town was bathed in a gentle breeze. At the suggestion of his grandparents, Lucas decided to take me for a stroll. The elderly hadn't seen Rose for too long, so they kept the child with them, and Lucas and I went out onto the streets. The ancient town at night was brilliantly lit. It was the summer vacation period, and many tourists had come. I was drawn to the roadside lanterns and stopped to look for a while. When I turned back, I couldn't find Lucas anymore. The crowded flow of people made me instinctively fearful. In the panic, I looked around left and right but forgot to contact him by phone. Just as I was getting anxious, a strong force pulled me back from behind. "Where are you running off to?" Lucas's voice instantly put me at ease. I slowly let out a sigh of relief and muttered quietly, "I was getting worried when I couldn't find you." Lucas took my hand and held it firmly in his. "How old are you? Still needing to watch over you like Rose to keep you from getting lost? Come on, I'll hold your hand." My cheeks instantly flushed bright red, and I instinctively tried to pull my hand back, but he held on tightly, and the crowd around us grew larger. I could only go with the flow and let it be. The future will be the same. Everything moves with the heart. I'm growing fonder of the tranquil life in this small town. It's been 2 months, and I still have no intention of leaving. That day, while taking Rose out for a walk, I ran into 2 familiar faces. Kevin was holding Andy's hand, standing right in front of me. Andy noticed Rose, and his eyes darkened. I instinctively shielded Rose behind me. Rose, unaware of the situation, asked cautiously, "Mom, what's wrong?" Hearing her call me Mom, Andy broke down. He shook off Kevin's hand, rushed towards me, and pointed at Rose, demanding, "Who is this? Why is she calling you Mom? If she calls you Mom, then what am I?" I laughed in anger. "She calls me Mom, so naturally she is my child. As for you, you said it yourself that you didn't want me to be your mother. Now who are you rushing over here to question?" After hearing my words, Andy's eyes turned completely red. He couldn't hold back and began to vent his grievances at me furiously. "You are my mother. How can you be a mother to someone else? No. You gave birth to me, so you must be my mother." He arrogantly believed that, because of the blood ties, I would have no way to abandon him, but he was wrong. 10 months of pregnancy, 10 centimeters of cervical dilation, and a life-threatening delivery. I never owed him a thing. It was always him who owed me. I once stayed up day and night, raising him bit by bit, yet he not only betrayed me but also hurt me with the most vicious words. He is my child, the one who knows best how to strike at my heart. People get tired, hearts grow cold, and now I have completely let go of him. I spoke calmly. "From the moment you gave up on me and chose someone else, I was no longer your mother." Andy cried and screamed hysterically. Kevin stood behind him, falling into silence again and again. After a long time, Kevin spoke. "Linda, I still love you. Can you give me another chance? Belated affection is cheaper than grass. Moreover, the scumbag in front of me isn't even being sincere." I sneered at him. "Didn't you love Jenny to the point of life and death? How come you stopped loving her so quickly? It seems the charm of money is still greater." Kevin froze instantly, his face turning extremely unpleasant. Did he think that just because I hadn't been living in the city for the past few months, I wouldn't know anything? My mother called me the other day and said how much the Green family deserved it. After we withdrew our funding from the Green family, their already dire financial situation worsened. Instead of helping, Jenny took the opportunity to benefit her own family at the expense of the Greens. One thing after another completely crushed the Green family. My parents have always resented Kevin's betrayal of me. Upon learning the news, they publicly disclosed the Green family's broken capital chain. In a short time, the once prosperous Green family completely collapsed. Last week, the Green family went bankrupt. If it weren't for the Green family's bankruptcy, would Kevin have thought of me? Probably not. A selfish scumbag like him would only see my leaving him as his loss. Seeing that Kevin still refused to give up and tried to approach, I issued him a warning. "Now that the Green family has fallen, if you don't want to end up even worse, you'd better disappear from my sight right now." Kevin is still struggling. "Linda, you've misunderstood me. I truly love you. Let's reconcile and give Andy a complete family." I was so angry I could spit blood, and the 2 of them were blocking my way. Not letting me leave until Lucas appeared. Rose excitedly threw herself into his arms. "Dad, the bad guy is trying to take Mom away." Lucas comforted her softly. "Don't be afraid, no one can take Rose's mom away." He wrapped his arm around my waist with one hand, his gaze threateningly fixed on Kevin. "She's mine now. Think twice before you lay a hand on what's mine." Lucas's powerful aura made Kevin hesitate. Seeing that he didn't dare to step forward, Lucas sneered mockingly. He held me and we left. Behind us came the sound of Andy's heart-wrenching sobs. "Mom, I was wrong. Please come back." My heart suddenly tightened. After all, he's my own flesh and blood. How could it not hurt? From the moment he gave up on me, I was no longer Andy's mother. I am Linda, and from now on, I will only be myself. After hearing the stories above, what are your thoughts? Feel free to share your opinions in the comments section. Looking forward to hearing from you. If you liked this story, don't forget to like it, share it, and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.